You probably clicked on this video because it said something along the lines of how to grind combat as a new player. Well, today I'm gonna show you how. Hi, I'm Oxidized and welcome. I'm Oxidized and I'm gonna show you how to become an absolute legend at early game grinding. Who the f? I'm Oxidized and enjoy the video. Yeah, so the first thing that you're going to want to do when you want to start getting into combat and making money using combat, the first thing you do is get to tier 4 gear, whatever weapon you chose, right? So like in the episode where I talked about what you should do after the tutorial, highly recommend it. Some good stuff in there. What you need to do is make sure that you've picked your weapon, right? So me personally, I went with swords. So swords are, if you get swords up to this point, so you start off here, you get to use tier 3 weaponry. And then once you start just playing with swords, you'll get to tier 4, and you'll get to tier 4 really fast too. Once you get to tier 4 and you pick your favorite weapon, so I chose broadswords again. Broadswords are a lot of fun, but any of these are viable. You know, you can go look at other builds, and I plan to do my own personal sword build on this channel, but go look at other builds, look at other websites, and you'll see how to build a character, right? So most importantly, especially low level, is picking your weapon. So we chose broadswords. And then if you look at my character, I'm using Cultist Cowl, Hellion Jacket, Cultist Sounds. Y'all aren't gonna know what this means. And a Muzak, but this is my build, right? Well, you'll probably be building something not like that, not in the beginning. You'll build something more like using, like, you know, a mercenary jacket, or you can go to plate armor, yada yada. It's not about that. Either way, once you have that, there's a few things you can do, right? I highly recommend waiting until you have tier 4 gear. Tier 3, what you can do is go run around and kill these like guys around here, like the cursed ghouls and just random mobs until you get to level 4. Just because before level 4 it gets a little, it can be a little bit difficult. So what you're gonna want to do when you have your tier 4 gear is stay in these zones here. Early on, you want to stay in blue zones and yellow zones, right? If you press M, you'll see where you're at: blue zones, yellow zones, and they have a number with them. The number means so tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. If you don't know Roman numerals, you might want to read up on it. The game has a lot of them, let me tell you. You know, 5, 6, once again, red starts getting dangerous. Red, other players can kill you, and when you die in this game, you lose it all. Very high risk, high reward, big money, no whammy, stop kind of stuff here. So you want to stay blue and yellow, right? So in blue or yellow, if a player can't kill you unless you faction up. Again, another lab. Just don't faction up. You'll know what I mean if you get to that point. Don't do it. But you come into here, you can't be mounted, right? So you come on into here, just press A on this thing, and you'll come into a dungeon like this, right? You go forward, you keep progressing. When you enter a dungeon, you should see enemies by now. If you do not see enemies by now, get out. Just press A and you'll teleport out, right? If you see no enemies, that means someone's already taken this dungeon and you're wasting your time, right? So you don't want to do that. You want to just A out and then come back here, okay? Now, something I need to mention is that when you go through these dungeons, if you don't clear the entire dungeon, or like about 75% of the dungeon, you cannot get the loot at the end. Okay, so I'm going to show you a clip of getting to a chest and showing you the loot and how much money you can make and stuff like that. So be back in a second. I just wanted to show this real quick. I just entered into a new dungeon, and as you can see, as I got close at the very beginning, you see that there's someone here. That means more than likely this dungeon has not been tainted or has been messed with yet. So it's free money, free game, baby. Anyway, as you can also see that when you kill an enemy, you get a few things. I might as well just show you this as well. It can't hurt. You get a few things. Okay, so let's kill these guys. And this is a blue zone. I think there's like a tier 4 blue zone. So this is what you can expect. As you saw here, I get 13 silver, 52 silver depending on the enemy. And then you see little bit numbers next to it when you get the kill. Those are fame. Fame is the experience that you see oh shit, B button, sorry, that you see here, and then and that's your experience points there. All right, so you're gonna the higher tier you go, the more money enemies are gonna drop, the more fame you'll get. All right, hello everyone, we are here. We are killing a mini boss actually. So in the previous video I talked a little bit about how dungeons work, and there's a chest mechanic, right? So chests can be either green, blue, purple, or orange. With each so green being common, blue being uncommon, purple being epic, and then yellow or orange or gold being legendary. Those are rare but not super rare. Okay, so again, this is a tier 4 blue zone, so the loot is not going to be great, but we do have a expert cleric cowl, these adept relics, and then 5 bags of tier 1 silver. This is 5,000 silver, right? So each silver is 1,000. Each bag is 1,000 silver. I have 5 of them, so math, 5,000, nice and easy. All right, we are here with the final boss of the dungeon here that we just beat. Notice we got another purple chest. Now that doesn't always happen. This chest, usually the lowest it goes is blue, so just uncommon. But I mean, there's a lot of times where I'll get purple as a mini boss, and then like blue as a normal boss chest. So this is just a coincidence, but typically no matter what it is, you do see better loot in boss chests, even if it's purple. So you can see here we actually got 8 bags of silver, which I know isn't a drastic change, but it's also because we're in a lower tier zone. In the higher tier zones, you do see a pretty drastic change on how much loot that we can make. So what I want to do is I want to go and evaluate all the stuff that we got and give you a rough estimate about how much money we made going through one dungeon, which will take you about maybe 15 or 20 minutes to do it solo with the level of gear that's adequate to where you're at. Okay, all right guys, I just sold everything that we got on that run, and including the money that we picked up from the bags of silver, it was about 37,000 silver from about 15 to maybe 20 minutes of doing a solo dungeon. Now that's not the only way of getting money using combat early on in the game. That's one that I highly recommend doing, that you can just kind of farm it up, and you also get a lot of experience towards your weapons and armor that can be used for even further PvP and PvE applications. What I also recommend you do is once a day, you can come over here and do these expeditions. You have solo expeditions and you have group expeditions. And at group expeditions, don't worry, you can queue solo and you'll queue in with other people who are also doing these as well. But as you can see in the solo, I recommend just doing solo. You should be able to do tier 3 because you need an item power level of at least 250. And you can check that by pressing the I button, bring up your inventory, this little arrow here, and your average item power is right here in the very first spot. I have 1,045, so I can do everything. But if you look at this, so Journeyman, so tier 3, the very first one you can do, when you complete it, you get an extra 1,000 silver. That's on top of killing all the other mobs within the expedition, because the expeditions are just like a solo dungeon. The only thing different is that there's no chests, there's only silver drops, and you do end up getting quite a bit of silver doing it. I'm gonna run through one of these and see how much money I make just doing a tier 3 one, and then let you know at the end how much money I ended up making and the overall experience. All right, just a very quick note before we do the little roundup, the last little bit here, is that these have dailies involved here. So the next daily bonus is 6 hours, and when you do them, you get these extra royal sigils and a little bit extra money on top of it. And same here, you get a adept royal sigil, and then on the lower tier you don't get much extra for the dailies, but these you do, and these can be sold for at a much higher price. So these are worth doing at least once a day, if not more. All right guys, so to sum it all up, I was able to make about 41,000 silver from both a single solo dungeon and doing the daily expedition. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, the solo dungeon gave me 37,000 and the expedition only gave me 4K. Again, I think those are good to do once to get the daily, to get a little bit extra money on top. The expert, the sigils that you get from doing the higher tier ones go for like 20 to 30,000 silver. So those are worth getting once you get there. But I really recommend sticking to the solo dungeons, because I said, it takes about maybe 20 minutes if you're properly geared to go through an entire dungeon, and you'll get about 37,000 in those tier 4 blues. And you would imagine the higher tier you go, the more money you get, the faster you can start clearing them, and there you go, you get more money, more silver as you're going up. Okay, so just to end this off, a little bit of a bonus tip. You might be asking me, well, Oxy, what weapon should I be using to get the fastest clear speed? Well, I don't recommend picking your weapon based on that solely, because it takes a while to get a weapon to mastery, to the high specialization. So you should pick a weapon that's fun. But if you're like, I don't care, give me the PvE best weapon that you can give me, Great Axe. At least right now, as of April 12th, 2020, Great Axe is extremely good at clearing PvE dungeons. Honestly, the entire axe family is really good at it, but Great Axe is especially. Any other axe family and any other axe weapon in the axe family will still do a pretty good job. Alongside that, fire stabs, fire mages, or fire mage builds are also really high damage and helps with clear speed. But on those ones, you kind of risk a little bit of being like a glass cannon. Your defenses aren't that great, but you can clear really fast. And then I do swords. I think swords have a lot of potential when it comes to clearing PvE, but I would say they're maybe A tier, whereas axes and fire stabs are S tier. Okay, and that's gonna do it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I will be coming back with more. I think the next episode is probably gonna be more on what to do once you get to a certain point. What kind of dungeons should I be doing, or what should I expect when I go into red zones? And I'll touch on that in the next episode. Until then, guys, please like the video, helps me out a lot, and see you then.